So today I'm on a really high elevation just on the outskirts of Huddersfield, and Huddersfield sits 1.5 miles away, so it shouldn't be no problem zooming in and out of that town with the Nikon P1100 there. And if I spin the camera around, my first subject today is going to be that on the horizon, which is called Emily Moor Mast. Now that sits at least 3 miles away from where I am, so it's going to be great to zoom in and out with an optical lens today. Now that's Emily Moor Mast, and that sits, I'd say, around 3 miles away, just on top of the horizon. Let's use that digital zoom on top. So that's 125 times optical. And now pull back to where I'm stood, which, like I've just said, is around 3 miles away. The sun's really coming out now, so we're going to get some good visibility here. Now I'm going to zoom into some wording down there in Huddersfield, and soon you'll be able to see the wording. So this is about 1.4 miles away, and there you can clearly read the wording. Hello Huddersfield. And then I'm maxed out now, 4 times digital on top of the 125. And now back at 125 times optical. And now pull back to where I'm stood. Again, I'm around 1.4 miles away from that sign. Now let's see if we can see the time at 3 miles away. Now this white building coming into frame is the Royal Infirmary in Huddersfield. And just on top of it sits a clock tower. Let's see if we can see the time at exactly 3 miles away. I can read that says 2 o'clock. So that's pretty outstanding, to be fair. So you can see there it says 2 o'clock, and that's exactly 3 miles away from where I'm stood. That's amazing. That's amazing because as I'm looking at it, I cannot see the clock tower. Obviously I can see the large Royal Infirmary though. And this is exactly 2 miles away from my location. You can clearly make out the wording there, the food warehouse. So that's 2 miles away from where I'm stood. Let's use that digital on top. And clearly you can make the wording out underneath. Again, the food warehouse. So there's the 125. Now let's pull back to me. And now you'll see that's a fair distance away, and soon you won't be able to make out the wording. And that's 2 miles away. And now this one's really testing the zooming capabilities, because this, I would say, is maybe 30-35 miles away, right on the horizon. The sun's just come out and lit it up. And you can see like a beacon on the right flashing. Let's try and use that 4 times digital on top of this, but it is a long way away, so it's going to take a lot, as you can see. Let's get back to that optical. So now I'll retract back from where I'm stood, and you'll see that is a long way away. So that's really testing out the optical capabilities there. I would say that's at least 30 miles away. Which is around 2 miles away. Again, we've got a clock just beneath it. Zoom in a bit more there. Angle the camera. You can clearly make out the time there. 3:30 nearly. So there's your optical. Let's pull back now. And again, I reckon this is around 2 miles away. And now we've got some wind turbines right on the horizon there. It's looking at least 20-25 miles away, if not further. It's a little bit windy and it's punched right out there, so the digital zoom's going to look really wobbly. Here we go. And now let's pull back all the way to where I'm stood. And that's right on the horizon, as you can see. we're looking 25 mile easily, maybe a bit further. And now we're looking at Premier Inn. Again, that sits in the town of Huddersfield, so that's 1.5 miles away. Use that digital zoom on there, you can clearly make out Premier Inn there to the left. So that's Premier Inn, again sitting at 1.5 miles away. And now I'm going to zoom into some wrapped up hay bales, and I'd say they're sitting around a mile away. Just at the back of that farm there. I'll just keep going, even when digital kicks in, which is there. So that's fully maxed out there, 4 times digital on top of the 125. There's your 125, and now pull back to where I'm stood, which again is around a mile away. Now, as you can see, centre frame, we've got a church, and I cannot even see that with my eye whatsoever. Maybe several miles away. As you'll see, I'll just punch in now digitally. So that's maximum digital zoom on top of the 125. And I want to pull back to me, make an assumption yourself there how many miles you think that is. Very far. And now these sheep in the field, I'd say just under a mile away. Let's use that digital times. So there's your 125. Now pull back to where I'm stood, and I think that's around just under a mile away. And now this house in the distance is just on the horizon. I'd say it's around 3 miles away. Let's use that digital zoom. Now I'll pull back to where I'm stood, and you'll see that it's, I'd say, around 3 miles away. That's a far distance away. And now you can see a horse in a field, and that's exactly 3 miles away, as it sits in line with the Royal Infirmary there. Let's use that digital zoom on top. And now I'll pull back to where I'm stood. So that horse is 3 miles away. And once again, as I'm looking with my naked eye, I cannot see that horse whatsoever. And now I'm at 125 times optical, looking at this water tower. Let's punch in 4 times there. So there's your 125 times optical. And now I'm going to pull back to where I'm stood. Now I'd say that one's at least 20 miles away. Way off in the distance there. So there you can clearly read Isuzu. 125 times optical. And now pull back to where I'm stood. Again, this is around, I'd say, just over 2 miles away. So that's a fair distance away there. You can clearly make out the wording. So I hope you've enjoyed this video today. That sun did come out in the end, and the wind did calm down, so I managed to pull some of them zoom shots off. Not too bad, to be fair. So my favourite clip of the day was when I zoomed into that clock tower exactly 3 miles away. And from the naked eye, when I wasn't looking through the viewfinder, I could not see that whatsoever. Now the building below, the big infirmary, I could make that out just, that's about that big to my eye. but that clock tower could just not be seen whatsoever. So to be at 3 miles and we can tell the time, that's incredible, to be fair. So as always, do stay tuned to the channel. There's going to be plenty more videos on the horizon, especially testing out this 125x optical on the newly released Nikon Coolpix P1100. But for now, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and bye for now.